Luigi Mangione. Um, they found him like he's just chilling at McDonald's. Like if I'm on the run, if I kill somebody, I'm on the run. I'm Uber eating or I'm getting shit to go immediately. Uh, just McDonald's. Just sit on his laptop with the mask on. One, your mask on nowadays is going to draw eyeballs to you because a lot of people aren't wearing masks anymore. I know every time I'm still in the airport, that's usually where I see people wearing a mask. I do a double take. I'm like, you don't really need it anymore. You don't, think we're past that. But so that would draw a red flag. And then everybody said his eyebrows is what drew people his attention to him. But now with this manifesto slowly getting released, and I'm never one to jump to conclusions or start judging people, but what I hear from what I heard is his mother went through a lot, and he had to watch her constantly basically beg their insurance company to help her. And I know he came from money, but still, some of these surgeries can cost millions, hundreds of thousands at least. And whatever she had, I guess it was one of them's like degenerative diseases. And, they kept giving her the runaround, basically. And if this is true, and he basically watched his mother go through so much, and I'm sure there's things out there that said he went through a lot. And if you're constantly battling health insurance and you just want to be taken care of, and you pay these premiums, so when you need them, they're there for you. And then it should be, let's get everything done, and then we'll deal with the paperwork and the payments after. But I'm talking when it comes to medical stuff. But to watch your mother deteriorate and be in pain constantly, from the age of 31 on. So he probably saw this most of his life. He snapped. And then now I'm hearing he had back pain and surgery. And, so if he was dealing this either with himself and he became bitter, or his mother. Not saying I agree with the extreme actions he took, but I do understand the frustration. I go back, watch that movie Traffic. It came out about 20 years ago at least. And you see in that movie how Matt Dillon's character, the police officer, he comes across as like a little racist in it, but then they break down why he turned into that type of individual. I'm not saying his actions were right in the movie. They're not justifying his actions. He was wrong. But they peel the layers back of how he became bitter towards the system. And he was really mad at the system, but he took all his frustrations out on basically black people. Because in Traffic, his father needed help. And he kept getting pushed to the back of the line because they were letting minorities go ahead of him that needed help. And he's a cop, and he got frustrated. So he, instead of being mad at the medical companies, he started getting mad at black people. And so I'm not saying it's right, but you can, I don't even want to say sympathize. You can humanize with it. You understand, if that's your dad and you're taking care of him and you're burdened with him and he's basically falling apart, you got to direct your anger somewhere. And he directed it towards black people because they were probably getting taken care of before him. And granted, this is all a movie, but I think a lot of movies are based in real life experiences. But then if you haven't seen Traffic, it's 20 years old, I'm not going to be like, I'm spoiling it for you. But then at the end, you see how he saves a black woman's life that he treated wrong earlier in the movie. So Yeah, I would watch Traffic. There's some shows that just, as much as we change this as a society, there's some shows and movies that still hold true and they stand the test of time. The Wire. If you ever watched The Wire, it breaks down so much stuff. Like Mac Wilde's character in The Wire, he wanted to do the right thing, but he couldn't. He just got sucked into the streets, and he was strictly a product of his environment. But at his core, he wanted to be a good kid, and he wanted to do what was right. But he just couldn't. It got to a point like there's nothing he could do. So you humanize him. You humanize with him. He wasn't born a thug. He didn't want to be a thug. At the core, that's not what he wanted. And it just turned into that. The same with Traffic. So I think if his manifesto if it ends up coming out that it's true, whether it was him or his mom especially could reach a breaking point. I can understand the mother scenario makes more sense to me as to why you would go kill somebody, because anybody that has a woman in their life, their wife, mother-in-law, if you see them constantly in pain and you see them keep getting turned down, I don't think you go to that extreme, but you can see where you can snap and you just, and then I've also heard, granted, everything's going to come out in the next couple weeks, but also heard that the CEO, Brian Thompson, there's an audio or video of him basically discussing all the, I don't want to say bragging. What I heard was bragging. I tend to think it was probably more discussing all the denied claims that they had. And they're making so much money. So much money. A lot of countries, not most, but a lot of countries have free healthcare. I don't know why we are the superpower that we are. And we have all the resources that we can't come up with a better way of handling our healthcare system, because it's almost like it's not set up to be easy if you're going through something. I could see where this guy, if this is true, if he had back problems, if he had to saw his mother deteriorate, I could see where he got to a breaking point. Not to say a breaking point where you murder somebody, but, I can see it.